Hey guys, welcome back. It is Pass the Syrup, the Agents Movement Initiative podcast. This week I'm joined by two magnificent guests and Joe Parry. So Joe is Mr. Wales. Everyone knows him as Fine and Country Wales. He is known for the best smile in estate agency 2019 and 2020. He also owns the Archer & Co business. Magnificent operator. Joe, how's it going, mate?
Very good, thank you, Ben. Very, very good indeed. So just saying to Alex, we can almost wave to each other with Alex being over the Severn over there in Bristol. But it's another sunny day, as always, here in Wales. So thank you for that. As
always in Wales. Actually, you know, the last time I visited you, it was beautiful weather as well. It's something about this relationship. So next we've got Alex Tan from Andrews, who, from my show notes, is nearly 20 years in a estate agency. Lifer, good luck, you know, think about, you know, if this is really what you want for your life, but also currently going for Property Mark Vice President. Is that right, Alex? How's life? Tell us a bit about that.
That is correct. I didn't get as much as a nice intro as Joe, but let's go with it. That's fine.
Joe, the issue is that I just got a massive crush on Joe, and Joe knows this.
It goes both ways. Don't worry about that, Ben.
I can feel the love. I can feel the love.
The major issue is if we introduce the show and I do what I just did with Joe to women, then I just get typecast. I'm that guy, so I have to do the flirting with the men. Otherwise, I get attacked. So
Alex, I was
Alex,
just
the best smile in Bristol. Give it to
Thank you. There we go.
I'm going to bring up the camel toe soon, Ben, so don't worry about that.
Oh, please do not do that.
Sorry, Alex.
Please do not do that.
So moving on swiftly about me going for Vice President of NENA with Property Mark. So vote Team Tan. Voting does close on the 28th of June. So if you are a member, please vote for me.
So I'm just really quick because I'm not a member and I think lots of us aren't. We have no idea what this is. What are you going for?
It's an honor and a privilege. So what the actual term of the presidency, if you like, you start as a vice president where you're learning the ropes and seeing obviously everything in action, how you can support Property Mark and its members. Then you go into the second year where you are president-elect. And again, you would probably step in if the president isn't able to make appearances at conferences, etc. And then your final year is the year of your presidential year. So what it entails is being able to go to conferences, meet with members, and being able to be the brand ambassador, if you like, for Property Mark and its members, and really try. And for me, I want to just try and see what the members want and how I can obviously help and support them and raise the profile of Property Mark across the UK.
Very, very interesting. So if you've got someone like Biden ahead of you, you could find yourself stepping in a lot in year 2 to support Property Mark, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Correcto.
In terms of airtime for Property Mark, why would an agent want to join Property Mark? What are the benefits?
I think there are a massive amount of benefits. I think that there's so many tools that people that are members don't really know about. But I would say that from our perspective, it's being able to be recognized that you have to have certain qualifications to be a member. In our industry, you don't need any qualifications or a license to be an estate agent. You could just rock up and you can start your own agency tomorrow without any qualifications or any credibility. Whereas if you are a Property Mark member, then you have to have that entry level, that criteria to be a member. So you obviously have, again, the credentials to say that you are the agent of choice and people should be using you. So it's being able to protect the customer as well. But there's so many different things that an agent can use as well. I mean, one of the things that we love is the helpline. So when we're looking at compliance and all sorts of issues that you can get engrossed in, they are literally there at your beck and call to be able to help and support you. So from big corporate agents down to if you're running your own business.
Okay, interesting. So Property Mark, you're welcome. Good airtime. Good airtime. Good pitch. Think about a vote for Alex. And then finally, Mr. Buckler, Chris Buckler, LinkedIn profile says estate agent, mentor, property geek. So Chris is basically my brother from another mother. That's exactly what mine could say if I'd written a cool thing for LinkedIn rather than a boring one. Reasonably well-known business. I think you're a part of Keller Williams for about 6 years. Don't really know. You want to tell us what's going on in your life, Chris? How's things?
Sure. Thank you, Alex. We'll make sure your link goes in the show notes so people can vote for you. I'm sure you're going to do that anyway.
Thanks,
I am a property geek, right? So I'm sat in our latest flip. Like, I've flipped properties since I was 23, and everything property I love, right? My wife's an agent, so if you want to come around and be bored to death on, listing integrity and how long you should put it on for, or how many photos to put on the portals, or how, do you write a description with emotion versus, this room has this and this, like, will bore you to death. But I think that's pretty good as an agent, right? We genuinely love it. And yeah, so I've been at Keller Williams for 6 years. Brilliant organization. I've learned so much from it, and I think Alex used the words earlier, honor and privilege. It's been a great honor and privilege to be part of something that I truly believe is magnificent. But my last day is Friday. I'm on to pastures new, which will kind of all be revealed. But I wish the guys at Keller the best of luck. And there is some extremely, there's some brilliant stuff inside of the Keller Williams setup. For me, I've done my time, I suppose, and I think there are other self-employed models out there that are going to evolve at a quicker pace and offer more of what the British agents want right now. And that's why I've decided to step away, but I wish them nothing but the best of luck.
Oh, there's so many things I want to. We're on such a time frame. Firstly, I hope that's the before shot from your flip and not the after.
No, this is that's done. This is, yeah. I don't know if you can see, but I can do a little tour.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I'm going to take the bait. What is it that UK agents want that the current models are missing?
I think support, marketing, tech. So support in terms of some agents will go to Chris, I love everything. I'm a great agent, but I'm really bad at sales chasing. Can someone take that on? Cool. Okay. From a self-employed point of view, Chris, I miss, when I sit down my agents, I say, how many third-party referrals do you put through? And when they're chasing 10, 20 grand fees, that they get the majority of the fees. They don't care about all the applicants that come in that they could build a relationship with. They're maybe slightly more short-termist. So what can the tech do to support them on the back end with automation and journeys and full marketing suites, right? Agents, on the whole, not everyone, don't beat me up, are shite at marketing, right? They're really bad. And I know you boys are obviously with F&C. You get some world-class marketing with F&C, right? It's really, really good. And I think self-employed model agents need to be provided with marketing that they can tweak, but not just marketing that looks aesthetically quite good. And I'm not saying, I was about to go off on refined magazines, I'm not that great. But what I'm going is, let's imagine you had someone writing the content like a Chris Watkins or a Simon Gates that knew proven return on investment for certain items. You had someone aesthetically make it look great. Agents could go in and go, right, I'll order that, that, and that. And if I send those out over 8 weeks, because they've been ghostwritten and presented really well, I should get a return. So I think more science behind it. Tech enabled, so tech that lifts them up rather than takes away from them. And I'll probably talk about that with Rightmove and a couple of our products today. With automation, ghostwritten articles that go out for them. And yeah, proper support in terms of, I know we talked about this off camera, a lot of the North American models, which are great, will be like, what's your why? Where do you want to get to? And agents, when they've come to me over the past 6 years and gone, I don't give a damn about that yet. I just want to earn some dough before my wife divorces me. I've got 6 months of a runway. How do I go get stock? I'll sort out, if I want to build donate to my school or do a bursary or fly around the world and do whatever once I've got some money. But the practicalities of estate agent to business owner are very, very different. And that support, from my view, agents don't necessarily know they need it when they go into the self-employed model. But the majority of agents aren't great business owners. They can get there, but they need handheld support. So, and I'll shut up in a minute, but if they go, Chris, I want to earn 100 grand, and you go, brilliant, how much does that mean into actually your back pocket? And they go, what's a dividend? Can I offset my phone? That business ownership training, I think, is really important for anyone in the self-employed space. And I don't think it currently exists in any of the models out there.
Okay, so that, guys, we're out of time. Thanks, Chris. That's the 45 minutes.
As long as I've got my little snippet, I'm off that, guys. Good to see you.
No, I mean, look, in post-production, don't worry, I'm going to edit out 3 minutes of that 3.5-minute chat. So don't worry. So yeah, interesting. Actually, I tend to agree with pretty much everything you said. So the first couple of pieces are probably about making life easier for the agent when they first get involved, because those coming from an employed background would have had so much infrastructure and support surrounding them without realizing it's invaluable. From a marketing perspective, I love the concept of data-driven marketing. You know, things that you can track and prove there's a return on investment rather than a biased opinion. Everybody loves a magazine. Everybody loves this. Well, let's just get some science behind it. So yeah, I would kind of completely agree. And I went through my first business, the first few years. You don't get educated on how to run a business. There's nothing at school that sets you up for that. So yeah, I think it's, everything you said is right and will resonate really well. In particular, though, the cynical UK-based estate agent that doesn't behave like a North American estate agent doesn't necessarily want to jump on the unicorns and the rainbows. They want to get down to the raw, hardcore, how do we make it work? So good luck with what the future holds. Let's get stuck into topic number one. There's a few topics in estate agency that I find really, I was going to say capture the imagination, but that'd be complete bullshit. They don't capture the imagination. They just get the ranting really fired up, and they there's venting, there's ranting, there's the end of the world.
They talk to imagination. So imagination would be nice once in a while, wouldn't it?
It would. So Joe, let me come straight to you. Rightmove are, as always, they are in the trade press. Last week they were featured. James White, really great agent. He's received a communication recently to say Rightmove putting their prices up. Memory's gone blank, 15 to 17%, something like that. Yeah. We've had the same in the last month in our own business. Prices going up. Reason being blah, 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 blah. And as usual, that making the trade press got a lot of feedback. The anti-Rightmove groups have gone crazy once again. Joe, what do you think? Rightmove an essential, a completely unnecessary? They must do better. Where do you land on Rightmove?
There is so much negativity around Rightmove in this industry, and there are so many. I was having a look at the boycott Rightmove group on Facebook, which is always a really entertaining read. It seems to be full of agents who love to moan about Rightmove but don't do much about it, which goes against the whole name of the group, I suppose. My view on Rightmove is, yes, I don't agree with the price hikes all the time, and their slender profit margins, not. But I have to say, I've got little issue with Rightmove fees. I'm a little bit of a minority, I guess, in the industry. My Rightmove bills are astronomical. Yes, they go up every year. I don't mind, particularly, if I'm totally honest. A couple of reasons why. Like any trader, I suppose, when the cost of when their costs go up, any trader should put their costs up. What does a butcher do when the price of meat goes up? They pass it on and charge more. What does a timber merchant do that when the price of lumber goes up, they pass it on? Estate agents, our costs go up. Rents are going up if you're still in rented premises. Rightmove, Zoopla goes up and up and up, but agents seem to put their fees down. Is my experience. Certainly locally to here, we've got agents putting their fees down. We're coming up against 0.5%, 0.75%. We've put ours up. And I'll come back. I'm sure we'll have the fee discussion, but keeping it to Rightmove. The other thing is, I don't know what people want Rightmove to be. What do people want Rightmove to cost? No one ever really comments on that. What do they want it to cost?
So is this the argument, right? Because people frame it as they're putting their fees up, but they're not doing anything different. They're not innovating. This is the constant rhetoric. But I honestly, so where you're saying, what do they want to charge, or what is the innovation that people are hoping for that justifies a higher price? Or is that just is it nonsense? Are they just dressing it that way to have a rant? Because occasionally that happens in this industry.
I don't think Rightmove have innovated the site for a long time, and I'm sure they'd argue otherwise. But on the face of it, it's been the same bloody website for years, and even the agent products have barely changed. I'm not entirely sure what their developers do, but I got to say, like, it's a huge barrier to entry. And this is why I say, what do people want it to cost? They want it to be £400 a month, £500 a month. If Rightmove was £500 a month, as Alex said earlier, there's no barrier to becoming an estate agent. There's no accreditation. There's no licensing. I think you used the phrase rock up. Anyone can rock up being an estate agent.
The technical term. Thank you, Joe.
If Rightmove was 500 quid, I think each town would have twice, if not thrice, as many agents in it, because anyone could rock up, and we'd be facing low fees across the board because of the sheer number of agents, because Rightmove's so cheap and there's no other barrier to entry. So that's why I don't have a huge issue with the prices going up, because I think it keeps the competition on their toes, and I think it keeps new competitors out.
That is the first time I've ever heard anyone describe Rightmove as a good thing for keeping competitors out. You need to come and spend the weekend with me in London. I can assure you Rightmove's not keeping the competition out, but I guess from location to location. Alex, are you inclined to agree with Joe?
I think that Joe made some really valid points, actually, and I would actually echo those thoughts. It's almost like it's a bit of a necessary evil. Maybe that's a bit harsh in terms of Rightmove, and I know that, like you said, prices are going up, so naturally they are going to overinflate these prices. But like you said, what have they actually got to show for it? They don't even send us calendars anymore. You know, there's a whole group about the calendars.
Yeah, I mean, as it happens, you know what? I'm going to give my notice. I cannot believe I don't get a fucking calendar anymore. This is absolutely outrageous.
It is outrageous. Those
Chinese still send me a calendar every year.
Well, there you go. We used to look forward to having that, you know, that goodie box from them with the calendars, with the pens, hiked up the price, and don't even get that to show for it. It's tragic. But I think that, like you said, with the price hiking, so it is understandable, but they just dominate. And I'd love to be able to see in terms of what life would be like without it, because it is the go-to, and you have to have it so they can control. So it is a bit criminal in terms of the cost, especially if you're not a big organization and obviously you're a bit more of a startup. It's crippling, but it is necessary.
Yeah.
If it turned off tomorrow, if Rightmove disappeared off the planet tomorrow, what would the consumer do?
Go to Zoopla.
Right, and then Zoopla will put their prices up, and we'd be in the same
follow
position.
the stock. They'd follow where the properties are. Yeah.
They'd go down the high street.
Yeah, they'd be back knocking on doors. they'd be having a coffee in the office that no one visits anymore.
Good old days.
As a high street agent, I'm allowed to say that. Chris, what do you reckon?
Did you say no one visits high street office? And that's fine.
Got a lovely high street office that we do. No, people do visit us. Other agents come and borrow keys. You know, we've got to store the keys somewhere.
They give you back, do they? When they say, yeah, we'll pop back, and then you see a board go up. So controversially, I think Rightmove is arguably one of the best return investments in the estate agency, right? And I talked about marketing and being able to say, right, well, where do the majority of my leads come from? That's controversial. Here's the bit that I think is quite important about the calendars and what have you. It's the arrogant perception of Rightmove that pisses people off, right? And if I
arrogant?
give you
what?
No, so I'll give you an example. So I went to them 5 years ago. They called me in, just we'd kind of gone to Keller, and I said, their CMO sat me down and said, what's your view of Rightmove? I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how honest do you want me to be? And he said, go for it, 10. I said, I cannot wait for the day you fail. He was like, wow, okay. And he said, why? I said, whether I own a high street office in the Midlands, or I've come to Keller and we're doing a big national piece, you don't treat me as the client. And you don't care. And I said, you need to jump on this discovery package because no one else in your town is going to have it. We go, brilliant. We all sign up for it. And then every other agent rings and goes, you on this discovery package? Yeah, how are you on it? Because we got excluded. Great. And so I said to them, listen, the biggest problem you have is perception, because your product's actually very, very good. They didn't have data scientists at the time, which I found crazy. So I said, listen, what I'd love to do is a video series with you guys talking about how you can increase fees, this, that, and the other. They said, yeah, we'll do it. Ended up messing me around. So I went to Zoopla. Zoopla said, yeah, come and do it next week. And they put me out. It was great promotion for me and PR, but it was really good for Zoopla because it shows on their advantage piece, they want to give back and help agents. Rightmove messed around, didn't get it done for whatever reason. They probably didn't like me. They thought Matt Giggs was better and he's great. So go with Giggsy. But
I sort of get it. He wasn't available today, actually.
No. That's why they got me on in the knackered house. But if you don't evolve, if you don't change the best price guide, if you don't bring better product, if you don't actually get in front of your agent and say, how do we help you as an industry fees to go up? Or how do we give back? And then we do nick the calendars off you and everything else. It's a punch in the balls. It really is. And they don't necessarily, for me, I think it's a great product, a great return. I agree that with Joe, the product hasn't evolved. But the communication between Rightmove and agents is shocking. And they own that. They really, really do. And one of the final kind of bits for me is, with Boomin, we had a chance to really knock them off their perch. Now, we didn't do it because, and I'm not saying this necessarily my view, but the amount of times I heard people say, I don't trust the Bruce boys, so I'm not going to sign up to it. Whether you agree with that or not, we had our chance, right? And we'll probably get another, even with On the Market, you could argue we had the chance. But either we shut up and work with them to increase the value and perceived value, or we challenge them again. But this middle ground of, it's a price increase. Run with Joe. Get your fees up, right? Let's get a war for our clients. Let's take our industry from where it is to where it should be. And Rightmove are half a decent barrier. I know they've offered this $250 a listing piece, but we can work with them and we don't, and it's a shame.
So the word I've picked up on you that I've got in my notes that I would just talk about is communication. That you've mentioned it. For me, that I have a belief that they want to position themselves as something, but they're actually something else. They want to position themselves as a business that's there to support agents, but actually they're a revenue generation machine, and they shouldn't have account managers because their account managers very rarely manage accounts. The communication I get from my account manager is, just want to do a quick review, and I know that review means within 30 days there's a price increase. There's never a review midterm. So that's not account management. That's financial account management, maybe. And so I think if you think about human behavior, if you think about B2C, if we were dealing with a consumer as estate agents, we need to be empathetic and communicate in an effective manner that allows us to bring the conversation forward. With Rightmove, it's very B2B, but they're not handling it in, I think, in an honest B2B fashion. Don't call your guys account managers when they're simply calling to say, just want to let you know, putting the price up next month. If you're more direct, more honest, more straightforward in that way, we wouldn't view you in the way that maybe we view our own clients. And they've burnt some bridges. I mean, they messed up with, I guess, how they handled the sort of COVID lockdown piece. And they didn't really do a great deal to pull the industry back. But actually, the truth is, from our perspective in London, the price of Rightmove versus, I know you see some agents make the argument that Rightmove is more than my commercial rent. In terms of return on investment, it's always in London been a fantastic source of buyer leads. It just has. Does nothing for prospective client generation except the brand awareness piece, perhaps. But okay, we're doing really well. We've got subject one knocked out the park. Generally, agents don't like Rightmove. Generally, you three do. I haven't done very well with guest selection here. We haven't got someone who's willing to fight the other corner. Oh, wow.
Can I just say about the calendars? And I think part of the problem here is,
it's really important.
We have created this monster that is now crippling us, or attempting to cripple us, putting the fees up. With all this merchant that used to send around, the calendars would arrive and they weren't allowed in the front office here. There was you wouldn't see a Rightmove logo on our window, on our letterhead, in our brochures. Nowhere. We do not promote Rightmove at all. We barely mention Rightmove in this business. So those calendars would arrive and they go straight upstairs. They weren't allowed in the front office. But things like that's agents promoting and using that stuff is part of the problem.
Yeah, and I saw a really interesting, maybe you saw it. It was one of those We Hate Rightmove groups. And the concept was always advertising on the market a few days in advance, put it on your social media, put it on your email communications. And Chris, you're right. We've had a couple of opportunities booming on the market. It's path of least resistance. Let's tell it how it is. Right at the start, you said agents need more support. What you need is agents need an easier life. And that's what Rightmove represents. It's an easier life. I
Mhm.
just press a button, it's on, and the leads will start coming in. So until there's a viable solution that is still very, very easy, we're not changing anything. All right, subject number 2. Joe, you touched on barriers to entry. If it's too easy, too many agents, fees get pushed down. The only industry on the planet where I think we would rather reduce fees and reduce service and improve fees as a way to win business. So Purplebricks, they do love the news, don't they? Stripe acquires Purplebricks, and new model, not new model. So they've announced that they are going to stick with the low fee model, and they are going to reduce price around the country for Purplebricks. So, I don't even know where to begin. Alex, I'm going to come to you first. There's as much chatter, if not more, about Purplebricks than Rightmove. This strategy, let's buy a business, wasn't doing very well, and let's do more of the same at a lower revenue base. Is it just, you're an intelligent human being, just talk me through it. What do you think?
Baffling would probably be the key word for me. I mean, Chris touched on the Bruce brothers, and for me, I'm a massive fan of Kenny. So he was my mentor with Agents Together.
Nice.
And when they first started, so this is before it was just like a concept. And I sat down and I spoke with Kenny, and he's saying, yeah, we're going to be on, we're going to have TV adverts, we're going to be on the radio. I thought, this guy's just spinning me a line to get me on board. But it did transpire. And you know what? When Kenny and obviously Michael, they'd obviously set it up, that leadership and that concept, it was a disruptor to the market, wasn't it? Everybody was talking about it, but not as negatively, maybe I would say at that stage. I think people were very wary of how it was going to take off. And then obviously there was change of ownership and everything as well. And I think that there's been so many ups and downs in the Purplebricks journey, but people have always been looking, engaging, and seeing what it's doing, what it's not doing. People hating them, people saying they're going to, ruin a state agency and X, Y, and Z. And I think for me, you have to be able to respect your competitors. I think that is key. But in terms of our job and what we do and being able to make sure we deliver for the customer, I think that for me, it's the part when we've actually sold the property and you go through the sales progression, the conveyancing. That's a massive piece in agency at the moment, is being able to get those transactions across the line. And I think that's, for me, that's the part that falls down, but that's probably one of the most valuable elements as well. Of course, being able to get the best price for your vendor, absolutely, and having that duty of care to your purchaser as well. But to be able to cross the line, that shouldn't be underestimated. And I think that's where we have historically come into issues when we've been obviously working with Purplebricks in a chain, for example. But I think I'm a massive believer in being able to make sure that you get what you pay for, definitely. And I know what Joe was saying, that Rightmove are obviously picking their prices up, but agents are putting it down. There are some crazy fees that agents are doing at the moment. It just doesn't make sense to me. So to throw this back in the mix, the commissary and this, that, and the other back in the loop, I think it's going to be a really interesting time to see how long that survives, really. But I know we have the cost of living crisis. There's obviously that appeal on that side because, people are penny pinching, but you're dealing with your most valuable asset. So.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. The selling is such a small piece of what we actually do. The marketing and achieving the best price is, of course, it's essential. But there's a lot of arguments to say that you can systemize that piece so that if you do it effectively once, depending on property and consumer type, you can more or less do that again and again and again. I say it almost every episode. 2 years ago, my 7-year-old could have sold a property. In an upwardly moving market, properties, do a lot of the work for you. It's when things get tough, you really own your crust. But the conveyancing, I just don't think agents talk about that anywhere near enough. The conveyancing process and the skill and the expertise and the experience required to do that effectively, that's the stuff that nobody wants to do. But that's, for me, where all the value comes in. That's where we call it we think the consumer really is looking for peace of mind. They want to make the right decision. You want to give them peace of mind that we're going to, I don't like terms like hold your hand. I also don't like the idea of being available 24/7. I think I'm massively concerned about, as a species, what we've become. Like, I need to be on my phone. You know, it's okay. It will still be there tomorrow morning. We don't need to do it at 9 p.m. at night. But we are there to hold the hand. I think that is important, that we give you that peace of mind, that security. And in the interest of balance, I would say I've dealt with just as many high street agents, corporate agents, independent agents who are horrendous at conveying
Oh, I
things
totally agree. Like you
as
said,
Purplebricks.
it's not just a Purplebricks. And you
Yeah.
know what? They've got some amazing prop tech. Chris was touching on it earlier in terms of the importance and significance. I think it is cutting edge, you know, in terms of some of the things that they do. That is pretty amazing. But then you also think, well, do you actually need a human as well? Equally so.
Chris, what do you think? Do you need a human?
100%. The 100%, right? I think there's some really interesting stuff I've been seeing on AI when people offer, and automatically it will read their MIPs and see what they could go up to, and it will look at their socio economic profile and match them, and it's another level, right? And actually, I think we need to educate ourselves, one, for what's coming, but two, on getting better as an industry as a whole. I've never done an estate agency exam in my life, right? I once turned up to one, had a pissed off vendor ring me, and I thought, oh, I could lose this, and this is a £5,000 field, what it was back in the day. So swerved it, managed to keep the vendor sweet. Away we go.
Property Mark can qualify you, just an FYI, Chris.
No, I know.
Shameless plug there.
Yeah, shameless plug. I hope to get a discount. But look at me as an agent trying to get a discount on my fees. But the licensing is huge, right? And it'll be another barrier to entry, and I'm so for it. I mean, I educate myself on the estate agency, whether it's listening to Tom Ferry or whatever. So maybe slightly different to regulation. In fact, my office don't let me put my own properties live because I'll go, Chris, you haven't put the ML on, and I'm like, no, it's coming. But I guess where I'm going is we need to evolve, and as an industry as a whole, and I'm certainly guilty of this, is educate ourselves, but actually educate the client to allow them to self-discover what the right decision is. Because 20-something-year-old Chris, I would have picked Purplebricks. Why would I pay, that guy in a shiny suit with his personalised number plate and his golf mark Type R that's going to come around my house and tell me, he can get X, Y, and Z. I can sell. I was a city boy at the time. I really backed myself. I don't need these estate agent.
The front of this one, eh?
Wait, but I tell you what, when I go out and when you guys go out and when we pitch, there is a perception of that, right? And it's actually the DD, the back end is so important. We got chipped 100 grand on our house a week before exchange that we sold around the corner before we bought this magnificent one. So we went back and we fought tooth and nail on the home buyers report. We spoke to the electric board. We got a survey done, etc., and we managed to bring that back, right? Now I tell that story when I pitch because I'm like, this is the level we go to. Would an agent charging 0.75% have done that, or would they have gone, listen, Chris, the survey's a bit bad. It's been downvalued. Well, it hasn't, because you probably need to meet them halfway. We went to war for ourselves, and that's how I go for the client. But I can't do that if I'm low fee and if I'm matching against PB. And one of the things for me when I decided to sell my first business, it's gone on to do amazing things up in Solihull. Shout out DM & Co. Well done, Dom. But I went out and I pitched, and I remember the guy said, listen, you can have it if you match Purplebricks. Boards breed boards. It's on a really good street. I can't lose another one to PB. Yeah, I'll do it. I hadn't script practiced. I didn't know what scripts were. I just used to turn up, and I was that bad. I'd be like, listen, if you want to sign a contract, great. There's no pressure from us. We're not a pushy agent. What an idiot, right? And I matched it. But more for me, what an idiot, right? If you don't know what your value proposition is, you can't clearly articulate it and get buy-in, then you might not want every vendor that wants to go with PB, that's fine. But if you can't let the public have to understand the difference between a fiduciary, I don't necessarily like the word bespoke, but an agent that's going to play all out and go to war and get rewarded for it versus someone that just chucks it on Rightmove and leaves it. one final piece. I know I'm a waffler. The data plays very interesting.
Syrup everywhere. Syrup absolutely everywhere on this episode.
The data play for those guys is incredible because they've got X years worth of data. I don't quite know how many of the British public. And if they can do some predictive analytics of who's likely to move, the every 7-year piece, and then offer third-party referrals, I think that's where the play is personally, and why, whilst the fees are being dropped, if you can get, for every inquiry that comes in, you throw them on an automation program, 2 in 10 of those go over to your mortgage provider, and they convert, say 1, or 3 in 10, and they convert 1. There's a lot of prop fees there, so they don't necessarily care, I don't think. And can they turn that ship around? It'd be scary if they do, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, data, completely agree. That's without question. That's the reason they purchased a business. The larger estate agency business supposedly use a state agency for financial services driven business because that's where the real money is. So yeah, it makes complete sense. What I'm going to throw back at you though is, irrespective of whether you're a low fee agent, be it Purplebricks or someone else, I'm not necessarily sure it's the incentive that determines whether they're going to do what you did on your sale to pull that 100K back. I think there's plenty of agents out there that charge, let's say, a reasonable fee that still don't go to war. They're still not doing everything in their power to get things over the line. Maybe that's about business structure, and you've got the employed versus self-employed argument now. But I'm honestly not sure whether it's incentive driven, because if it was, wouldn't our fees be higher in this country? If there's a quality of agent out there, what's my goal? To try and get agency in the UK to 4%. And people say, genuine conversation, everyone in our town, I want them to increase their fees. Every single agent in the town where we work. Well, why are you telling them our tricks? Why are you telling them what we do? Well, they're not tricks, they're just standard practices. But because if our neighbor is better, it allows us. If we try and charge 4% right now, we look like lunatics. So we've got to drive everyone up. But if it's incentive driven, why aren't we in a better position right now?
I'm going to jump in and plug the self-employed here. And this isn't a case across the board, but this is my take. High street agents in an employed model, the neg that sells it will be getting 5 to 10%, sometimes 15 of the fee, right? If the fee's 1%, in that instance, whether they got, or a different instance, let's say whether someone gets 2.2 million or 2.1, the bottom line to the neg is
10% of 100K. Yeah, it's not,
yeah, right. Is absolutely pennies. It's not that much by the time it's pulled off. But ultimately, the KPIs I think set on that neg are, you need to get your 30 exchanges a month, 30 exchanges a month. One of the beautiful things about the self-employed or the business owner, whatever you want to call it, model is the difference on that. Let's say it was a 2% fee. It's a chunk of change, right? But also reputationally, vendor in that scenario would have been guided and given advice. They would have gone, yeah, to be honest, we were chipped and we did think it was a bit high or whatever else. They wouldn't necessarily realize that they're leaving that 50K on the table in some instances. The self-employed guy only eats if they're referred, right? And they need to get referral business. So I know that in that situation, if the vendor wasn't my wife, right, and good job it was, but it was someone in any of the houses around here, they would be telling everyone, do you know what, Chris, he played all out, right? I know he doesn't have a high street premise and his office is in Central London or wherever else. But he delivered, because the difference to me, I get the majority of that fee. So independent businesses watching this might go, oh, well, that's not the same, we're different. And I fully get that. The differences and nuances to all of them. And I know different models like F&C, pay next. Well, I know it's all completely different, but on the whole, I think the person that values it versus the person that sell it are different, and there's no incentive for that agent to go to war, but there is for a self-employed agent.
So all I would say, so we in our business, we have employed, self-employed, and business partners. We've got 3 different models. So I wouldn't regard us as experts in all 3, but I would still argue that example, that 100K chip, the counter argument is, does the self-employed agent who's got a huge chunk of fee on the line do their best to convince the seller to accept it because it gets the fee, or do they go to war with the buyer to try and get it up back to where it should be and get the right price for their client? And there's a moral piece there, which is a whole different podcast. But I'm conscious of time, so Joe,
Do the right
throw it
thing.
over to you.
Just before Joe goes in, I just wanted to say that as somebody that does work not for a corporate and kind of middle ground, we would still fight for the best price. Just saying.
I think
important to say that we would.
The best agents in the country would, irrespective of model, irrespective of fee point. I've met loads of good agents, loads of really nice, good people that charge low fees. And I'm like, okay, well, let's help you get that fee up because you're a good person and you have capability. You potentially come from an environment or you've been raised in a way that's allowed you to believe low fees is the way to go. They just need some support there, I think.
I've got to push back though. Everyone in theory says they would, and I in theory would have done at my old high street. I wouldn't have had 3 days to do all the things I needed to do. Imagine if I turn around to my business
it's a volume issue
to save this. So everyone in theory would want to, they wouldn't have the ability to, whereas you would do in a self-employed model.
Yeah, and for me, that is one area where estate agency in the UK is a very difficult proposition when it's about volume, because you just onto the next one, and the customer service piece does get stretched the bigger you get, and that can become a challenge. But Joe, I really want to give you about 34 seconds.
Thanks. So Purplebricks 999, there will always be a chunk of the market. There will always be sellers who just want less agent for less fee. There will always be those. They will always have people that just want to pay as little as possible. Another analogy for you, it's a bit like airlines. There are people out there who want less service when they fly for less money. Ryanair. And particularly with the background of the CEO, the new CEO of Purplebricks in the FS world, I think Chris is right. I think the 999 fee is probably the sprat to catch the mackerel, and they'll be cross-selling and upselling all over the place with that just to make it work. But my view on the people that want to pay 999, I do agree that the education of those people, if we had a chance to sit in front of them, I'm sure we're all good enough to sort of convert them around to pay more for a full service agent like us. But let them have them. If people want to pay that much, let them have them. I think we all need to just keep doing what we're doing and make sure that we are the full service agent of choice, and they could be the little to no service agent of choice. It's fine.
What a lovely line. Keep doing what we're doing. There's so much.
Get better at what we're doing.
People are obsessed with what's going on elsewhere. You're right. It's just such a good line. Just, guys, shut up with the keyboard warrior nonsense and get back to work. I don't have time to be doing any of this stuff. You've found time to write a nasty comment. Get on with life. The irony in some of the comments you see, although they are good entertainment, I would say. All right, so normally we do 3 subjects, but we've got a hard finish in 5 minutes, and we've obviously got Chris Buckler on today, so there was absolutely no chance. So we're going to go straight to a clip that I'd like to share with you guys from Sam at Agents Together. He has taken the viewpoint from some of the mentees that need some additional support this week, and so we're asking you 3 esteemed guests how you would support or what advice you would give. So I'm going to be quiet so you can hear it, which is nice for you, I'm sure.
Hello, Pass the Syrup guests. Now, this week's question from Agents Together mentees is, what advice would you give someone if they were struggling with their confidence on camera? Okay,
was that clear? Confidence on camera?
No. He looked fabulous, and I love Sam. I could not hear anything he was saying.
Couldn't hear it, Ben. Sorry.
Solid. Okay, we'll deal with that post-production. So, what advice would you give agents who are struggling with their confidence on camera? Now, because of time, you've got 30 seconds each. Chris, I'm going to start with you because literally 30 seconds, and we know what you're like. So, go.
No one gives a shit about your first video. You'll look back at it in 10 years' time and cringe. I think Josh Rayner sent me one of his, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But guess what? Josh has done really well because it's about consistency. Get an accountability partner, someone that you are genuinely a bit scared of, not your mate that's going to let you off, and just start doing them once a week and then twice a week. But do them. You will die as an agent if you don't get yourself on camera in the next couple of years.
Very nice. Very good. Chris, that's not bad. 37 seconds. Alex?
Like Chris said, consistency, just do it. Have no fear. Don't give a hoot about what anybody else says. You can get some really good gadgets on Amazon for really cheap as well that just makes the quality that bit better. But I would just say be consistent and don't worry about what anybody thinks. Get yourself out there. Crack on.
But crack on. Wow.
Crack on. Rock
Like
up.
a stag do with the lads. Crack on. Go on then, Joe. Big finish.
Same thing. I mean, I'm one of them, right? I don't particularly enjoy being on camera. I don't do an awful lot on camera. The guys in the team do, and even the people who have really almost not joined the business because of the need to do video. Speak to them now; they love it. So it's like everyone says, you just got to keep doing it, and the more you do, you just all those concerns you have just melt away. Just the more you do, just keep doing it. Take any opportunity you can to do be in front of the camera. And you just get more and more confident the more times you do it. Chris said that you'll look back in 10 years. I think you actually probably look back after 5 videos and you already spot things in the first one. You think, oh, that wasn't great. I could have done that differently. But you've just got to just crack on with it.
Very good advice. Thank you. Wonderful. Smashed it, you three. You're so good on camera, the three of you, even with those backgrounds. No holding against you. Okay, we're gonna go real fast. So I ask every guest about one great agent they've worked with or they're aware of, they think's brilliant, and I think it's really nice to highlight great agents to agents around the country, all 12 of them that will watch this episode. And it gets a bit of a spotlight on people that are doing good things. We now have social media, so we can follow them, we can see what they're doing. And then as part of talking about a great agent, the other thing we ask is one great piece of advice. You know, what you think agents should be doing right now. Maybe you can find a way to mesh them to do a mesh them together. Speech impediment is an impediment. If you can mesh them together so we can get Alex away in time, that would be wonderful. Joe, you look like you're pumped and ready to go with this one. You look lined up. I can't wait to hear who the absolute best agent you've ever worked with is, bearing in mind you've got a full team that are going to be watching this. Lovely.
A full team, and I have to say, hand on heart, I work with some of the best agents in the region, and I mean that. I really do. But I've got 2 people I want to mention here because both are agents, both are mentors of sorts, and both have been to see us to give the whole team some of their training and insights. One is Johnny Handford, the lanky chap from the Midlands. John Handford, absolutely love the bloke. One of the best fine and country agents in the network. Probably one of the best agents in the country. The reason I love Johnny Handford is because he's all about raising standards first and foremost, raising standards within the industry, and he's so generous with his time and knowledge and sharing everything that he and his team have learned over the years, and just learning from people like that is great. And he was kind enough to spend a few days, also very hot days, down here in the Wye Valley with us. And the team really benefited from that. There's a difference between sitting in a training session from a trainer and a training session with an agent who is genuinely out doing it every day. And the other one, teacher's pet, is you, Ben. You know, for the same reasons, all the same reasons. You're really going out there and sharing best practice, putting things like this together, all to raise standards. Anyone who is all for raising standards in the industry and is up for sharing their time and knowledge with other people, you know, is great in my eyes. So yeah, you and Johnny Handford.
What a double act, me and Biggin. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're absolutely bang on. John's okay, but yeah, I'm absolutely a dog's bollocks. Great piece of advice. Anything around, maybe it's around training. What should agents be doing?
If you're putting videos out sitting on a stool, full portrait video sitting on a stool, just be careful of any camel toe that might be on show. Although it was a big hit with the ladies, but yeah, I did get to explain it a little bit.
Yeah, my wife will watch this playback because she started listening to the podcast, and I don't think she was aware of that camel toe incident. That's good stuff. Thanks, Joe. Chris.
I'll be quick. Obviously, I'm not going to say any of the agents kind of in my world or network, other than my wife. She's a brilliant agent.
Oh my God, you two.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
That's nice.
And she genuinely is great. But I would say Gilbert and Rose, the boys over in Essex, the Yellow Army. What I like about Perry and Spencer is they genuinely care about our industry. They're doing big things. They share their stories. And they're just really nice blokes, so hats off to them. YouTube is your best friend. Stop watching Netflix or Love Island or whatever. There's Tom Ferry, Tom Panos. Just type in real estate scripts, whatever. Half an hour a day, and you'll see your game just elevate. You really will.
Very good. Yeah, I like those guys as well. Their content is brilliant, and I feel like they've built their business around video in 18 months, 2 years. They've just exploded. Phenomenal business. Alex, big finish. What have you got for us?
So I can't mention every member of my team, but they are all the best agents ever, obviously. But I'm not going to pinpoint because they're all brilliant. But somebody that I've been working with on a one-to-one basis is Carly Wilson. So she is EXP and she is absolutely phenomenal. Been in the industry over 16 years. And I really love working with her and speaking with her. I find her really inspiring in terms of the work that she's doing independently. And you have to really think outside of the box because it's all on you. And I really admire that. I think that there's so much value to the customer as well. But for me, I learned so much from her as well. So for me, Carly Wilson, go and follow her. She's bloody brilliant. Advice, more so just in life rather than estate agency. Just be you, authentically you. I think that there's so many people that are very aware when it comes to like social media, being able to have this perception of themselves or what their organization think. It's like, just do you. That is key. And if people don't like you, Sodom.
Absolutely. Sodom. Yeah, Alex, you speak so nice. I really thought we were going to get a swear word out of you there.
No, I'm on my best behavior.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're semi-corporate world. You can't get away with some of the language that we can get away with. So I understand where you're coming from. Guys, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much. Everyone we've just talked about will be in the copy, the show notes underneath, so people can follow them, people see what's going on. Alex will put your where people need to vote. Can we post
Yes,
that?
please.
Something like that? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I'll send you the link.
Thank you very much.
Team
So
Tan. I'm going to have to go because I have to be on a call like 4 minutes ago.
So, guys,
okay, thanks everybody.
Brilliant. See you soon.
Guys.
Cheers. Over to Whimsical Watkins for the sign out.
The key to success in a estate agency is playing the long game. The shortcut is the long game. Success doesn't happen overnight, but rather in a series of small, consistent steps. Getting the process in place, and things will inevitably come to you over time. It always looks like someone else is winning, but don't compare the moments of their success to others that are only just growing like yourself. The path of success is a marathon, not a sprint. Keep running your race and eventually you will cross the line in first place. Play the long game. Think years ahead, not weeks and months ahead. A high return on investment isn't quantity, it's quality. Short-term profits, short-term listings, pie charts, they're all great in the short term, but long-term value is where it's at. Because, this is important, if you can use the long-term personal branding and everything else that you can do, you can be an attraction agent. And when you're an attraction agent, landlords prospect you, vendors prospect you, not the other way around.